Are you at a point in your sex addiction where you have attempted so many times to stop acting out sexual behaviors to no avail? You haven't been able to stay stopped, and you're at a point of hopelessness, and possibly you have even had thoughts of suicide. 72%, studies have shown 72% of people who have a sex addiction think of suicide. Can you imagine? They feel that's the only option to escape the horrific grip of sex addiction. Do you have those suicidal thoughts? Have you even thought of how to end your life because sex addiction has just brought you to your knees of emotional and physical complete exhaustion, and you don't feel there's another way out? If this is you, I want you to subscribe to my channel, because what we do here is we teach you how to break free from sex addiction, and I post a new video every Tuesday for you. So subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and even hit that bell, so every time I post a new video, which I do at least one a week on Tuesdays, you'll get a notification that a new video has been posted. But I want to talk about sex addiction and suicide, and then 3 strategies to help you break free from sex addiction and realize you are worth living. You deserve to live life free from this horrific addiction. And I want to talk to you about those strategies today. But first, I want to zero in on 6 fundamental beliefs you have about yourself and your sex addiction that's not reality, that's not true, but you believe them. It's like you're stuck in the illusion of these beliefs, and that's why you feel so hopeless. So let's take a look at these 6 false beliefs that you probably have right now regarding yourself and your sex addiction. Number 1, your obsession and unrelenting craving to act out sexually never ceases. Therefore, you may have suicidal thoughts. Your compulsion to act out sexually in spite of your better judgment, that can lead to suicidal thoughts. Your hopelessness believing that you will never be able to stop acting out sexually, proven by multiple failed attempts. Once again, this can lead to thoughts of suicide. Number 4, your self-hatred and desperation, them alone can lead to suicidal thoughts. Number 5, you believe you are dirty, inferior, and an unlovable man who can only escape the misery of your sex addiction in death. That belief will lead you to those suicidal thoughts. And number 6, you're so filled with shame, guilt, and fear of being found out that you are emotionally bankrupt and you are depressed. This can lead to suicidal thoughts. And if you fit in any of these 6 false beliefs, or all of them, you may already have had those suicidal thoughts, or perhaps you attempted suicide. Well, you are worth living, and there is a way out. And I love this story. There's a man at the bottom of a ditch, real deep, 20, 30 feet down, and he can't get out, and he's been climbing to get out and grabbing on the dirt and trying to get him, and he keeps staying trapped in this ditch. And he's grabbing onto roots of trees and the rocks, and he just keeps sliding back down, and he can't get out of this ditch. And he's screaming for help, screaming, "Help me!" And then a preacher walks by and throws down a Bible. And the preacher keeps on walking. And he sees the Bible sitting there, but he's still trapped in the ditch. And he's trying to get out and screaming, "Help me!" And a doctor walks by and throws down medication. And there's a bottle of pills sitting there, and the doctor just keeps on walking, and he's still stuck. And he's trying to get out. He's trying to get out and he just can't get out. And he's screaming and he just feels hopeless. No one's helping him. And he's screaming again, help me, help me. And then suddenly, a guy jumps in the ditch. Some guy jumps in next to him. And he can't believe that someone jumped in the ditch with him. And he says to the guy, why did you jump in here? I've been trying to get out. I can't get out now. We're both stuck. You know what the guy says? Don't worry. I've been here before. I know the way out. And I want you to understand there is a way out. You can get out of this ditch that you're stuck in. I did it. It took strategies. It took techniques that I didn't know when I was stuck in that ditch, when I was in extreme desperation, where I wanted to die and I had suicidal thoughts and I just wanted to end my life because I was unworthy of living and I hated myself from the shame and guilt and the horror of what my life was becoming, acting out sexually, trying to stop. And I failed over and over and I felt hopeless. And then someone that was in that ditch jumped in and led me out. And I have learned techniques and skills to never fall in that ditch so deep that I can't get out ever again. And I have those strategies and techniques that I want to teach you. Because if I can do it, you can do it too. So I want to talk about 3 strategies that's going to help you realize you are worth living and you can break free from your sex addiction. So let's take a look at those 3. Number 1, realize, grasp, and acknowledge that you have developed a pattern of addiction to some sexual behaviors, and these behaviors offered you a high, much like a drug addict to his drug of choice. But today, sobriety is an available option for you where you can thrive as a healthy individual. Number 2, understand that at some point in your life, you needed to feel better, and acting out sexually gave you the illusion you were okay. Today, you can discover new ways to be okay and escape that illusion. And number 3, your mind has been significantly altered by your sex addiction. Today, you can recreate your mind and your life, only to realize you are, after all, a worthy, lovable, good man worth living. Yes, these 3 strategies are going to help you to realize that you are worth living a beautiful life, a life where you can thrive as a healthy individual and fulfill your dreams and your passions without the headache and the darkness of sex addiction. So we're going to take a look here again at number 1. Realize, grasp, and acknowledge that you have developed a pattern of addiction to some sexual behaviors, and these behaviors offered you a high, much like a drug addict to his drug of choice. Today, sobriety is an available option for you where you can thrive as a healthy individual. Realize, grasp, and acknowledge that you developed a pattern of sexual behaviors that you have become addicted to. And these behaviors are the behaviors we're going to have to look at to break the spell and the power that they have over your life, and that you can become a sober person from these acting out behaviors and thrive as a healthy individual. What are the sexual behaviors that have taken ownership of your life? And you need to write them down. Whatever they are, be honest and be thorough. Write down what behaviors you've become addicted to, because you're not addicted to sex per se. You're addicted to certain sexual behaviors. So become aware that these behaviors you have become sexually addictive to, and you get high when you use those behaviors. So grasp acknowledge, and become very aware of what your pattern is that you've become addicted to. And I want you to understand that through certain techniques and skills, you're going to be able to break the spell. Have you ever seen friends or people you might know that seem to have healthy, reasonably fun, social lives, and you just wish you were them? Well, you can be. It's just these behaviors we must take a look at, break the spell, and live a sober life where you can thrive as a healthy individual, and you can. But again, the first thing you must do is grasp, acknowledge, and realize that you've developed a pattern of being addicted to certain sexual behaviors, and sobriety is an option. Your life may be somewhat chaos because of those sexual behaviors you're acting out on. So if you think about it, once we stop those sexual behaviors, your life will no longer be chaos. See, a price must be paid to go from a life where we're addicted to sexual behaviors that are destroying us to living a life where we are thriving as healthy individuals. A price must be paid, and that price is being uncomfortable for a little while. So let's take a look at strategy number 2. Understand that at some point in your life, you needed to feel better, and acting out sexually gave you the illusion you were okay. Today, you can discover new ways to be okay and escape the illusion. Most sex addicts, at some point in their life, and usually it's when they're young, most sex addiction occurs before the age of 18. We discover certain sexual behaviors that make us feel better. And that's really what we were looking for. We were looking to feel better. We weren't liking ourselves or our family or our environment. We may have been depressed, we weren't happy, or we just discovered that these sexual behaviors get us high. And then we become addicted to those sexual behaviors, and it's usually by the late teen years that the sexual behaviors start to become in control of our lives. Interestingly, studies have shown most sex addicts start to transform their lives to get out of their sex addiction into a life where they're thriving as healthy individuals around the age of 37. So figure there's a good 20 years there when we're acting out sexually. But there was a point in your life where you needed to feel okay. You needed to feel safe. You needed to feel perhaps wanted, loved, nurtured, cared for. And you have discovered that acting out in those sexual behaviors you're addicted to made you feel okay. Loved, wanted, nurtured, cared for perhaps. Made you feel good. But you actually became addicted to the chemicals released in your brain from those behaviors. And typically, it's a massive amount of dopamine that gets released from the brain, and you get addicted to that drug. So in essence, on some level, it's as if you're a drug addict. You become addicted to the drugs your brain releases into the body by those sexual behaviors. So although those behaviors started by you needing to feel good, now it becomes actually a physical component to those addictions where you are drug addicted, so to speak. Your brain becomes a drug manufacturing machine. So you have developed not just a pattern of being addicted to these behaviors, you have also become drug addicted to the chemicals released in the brain. And dopamine is one of those powerful, feel-good hormones that are released in the brain into the body and make you feel so amazing. So what we have to do is now we have to transition our lives to new healthy ways to feel okay. Safe, loved, nurtured, wanted, needed. And you need to discover new ways, new techniques that are going to make you feel okay, that are not those. So we take away the sexual addictive behaviors, but we need to replace it with something. And if I have a cup, so here's a cup. So if I have a cup and it's filled with my sex addiction, well, when I take that sex addiction out of the cup, it's empty now. So now I'm empty, right? And the fear of the unknown is powerful. Who am I going to become without all these sexual behaviors? Because I've defined myself by them. I don't even know who I am without them. But if I fill the cup with something new, per se, I might fill it with a little more garbage. So in one of my other videos, I talk about connecting to a higher power of some sort, something greater in the universe, universal vibration, God, whatever it is for you, love, whatever it is for you. And you tap into that. And you and that connection to the universe or God or love or whatever it is for you, both of you together fill in that cup with spiritual things, good things. And then what happens is when we take away the sex addiction, then we connect to a higher source. And then with that higher source, we fill the cup. Well, after a period of time of paying the price of withdrawal and some emotional pain of transforming our lives, once the price is paid and the cup is refilled, life is amazing. Life is wonderful. But we need to fill the cup. We can't just take away the sex addiction and leave it empty. We need to fill it with new stuff. Very, very important. And that's going to help you thrive as a healthy individual. And with those new techniques and skills that you fill the cup with, you're going to be okay and loved and wanted and nurtured without acting out sexually. And you're going to learn how to feel loved and nurtured and cared for without acting out sexually. And let's take a look at strategy number 3. Your mind has been significantly altered by your sex addiction. Today, you can strategically recreate your mind and your life, only to realize you are, after all, a worthy, lovable, good man worth living. Your mind has been so altered by your sex addiction that you don't even realize that you're a good man, that you are lovable and you're wanted and you're desired. You don't even know that anymore. Your mind has been altered. If you're addicted to pornography or anonymous sex, you have now developed a pattern of looking at people as objects. That you altered your brain, you altered your mind. People are objects to be used or perhaps abused or taken advantage of, disrespected, dishonored. Throw your lust on them. And because of the altered mind, what happens now to the sex addict, they don't have a very clear, refreshed, spiritual look at people. People are objects. And that altered mind needs to change. And you will have the ability to recreate your mind, which will recreate your life. And you will start to see people not as objects. You'll start to see people as emotional beings, as people that are also looking, like you, to be loved and cared for and nurtured and wanted. And you'll see people as people experiencing pain just like you, loss, loneliness, suffering, crying. You'll start to see people in a more sympathetic or empathetic point of view. Change your thinking, you change your brain. And what an amazing idea. And it's been proven. So if you change the way you think, if you start forcing yourself to think, because you'll have to force it in the beginning, because it won't be natural for you to think healthy. So if you change what you're thinking about, you actually change your brain. And I talk about that in one of my other videos here. So take a look at my YouTube channel for some other videos. I talk about how if you change what you're thinking about, you actually can recreate neurons in the brain. You actually begin to create your brain neurons in such a different way that you will start to think differently in time and behave differently and live differently. So we have to start thinking differently first. We think differently, and then we start to live and behave differently. Starts with your thinking. You change your mind, you change your brain. But because your mind has been so altered from sex addiction, we first need to break free from that and then develop new ways of thinking. Where are we focused? What are we looking at? Like, keep your eyes on the prize. Stay focused on where you want to go. What I want you to do is I want you to stay focused on where you want to go. Don't look at what you don't want. because that's what you're looking at, right? Look at where you want to go. And if your brain starts to look at what you don't want, look at where you want to go. Don't fight what you don't want, you'll lose. Don't look at what you don't want, you're going to go there. Take a look at what you want in your life and stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes where you want to go. And start to change the thinking. Start understanding that your mind has been altered and you have the power to change it and recreate your mind, recreate your brain, recreate your life. And it starts by what you think about. And I wanted to give you this extra thing here, this extra thought that I love. Hope will start the fire, and willingness to do what it takes will keep the fire burning. You are a wonderfully determined man who'll wake up from the spiritual coma of your sex addiction and open your eyes to the bright life you were created to have, so you will thrive as a healthy individual. Hope will start the fire, and I want to give you the hope. I did it. And believe me, if I can do it, you can. I did it. And I was a bottom of the barrel sex addict. And I've experienced sobriety. I've experienced peace and serenity in my life. It's amazing. And you can too. Believe me, if I can, you can. I wanted to give you some hope. And willingness will keep the fire of hope burning. You breaking free from your sex addiction, it's not for you because you want it. It's not for you because you need it. But it is for you if you're willing to do what it takes to get it. So the question is here. Are you willing to do what it takes? And only you can answer that. There is a solution and there is a way out. I've done it. You can do it too. If you liked this video, if this sat well with you and you related to what was going on here, what we talked about, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, hit the like button, and hit that bell because I post new videos every Tuesday, and if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification that another video has been posted. My channel is here to help sex addicts who are in a hopeless place, who may have suicidal thoughts, living a life of hopelessness. I help gay and bisexual men who are sex addicted to break the spell, free themselves, and thrive as healthy individuals. And I want you to thrive as a healthy individual.